give me one more chance to show you that I love you. Won't you please let me back in your heart? Oh baby, I was blind to let you go baby. Now that I see you, it is on. I want you back. You see, I was 5 years old when 9/11 happened. And don't get me wrong, America has always had racial and religious factions, and xenophobia has always been visible like a closed caption. I mean, European immigrants are the only ones welcomed into our nation with compassion. Imagine always having to represent your entire race and religion because you are your peers' only Arab interaction, and rather than using an encyclopedia or academia, we rely on the only 3 images fed to us by the media. A hijabi, a blood-drenched war baby, or a terrorizing assassin, maybe sprinkle in a little Aladdin and Jasmine. Imagine every year on September 11th, from 1st through 8th grade, your school essentially stopped its studies for a day, but rather than actually acknowledging lost lives, they would show us propaganda-filled video archives that demonized and dehumanized Arab and Muslim lives, painting us as if we are only comprised of submissive women and thirsty bearded guys holding machete knives, dropping bombs from planes who daydream of multiple wives. And then directly after showing us those videos that subconsciously made me wish that race could be a choice, next, a monotone voice would come in over the intercom, requesting a moment of silence, eliciting in me conflicting internal violence. My heart would never keep quiet. It'd be pounding with paranoia while my peers were meditating, breathing hatred in through their noses, olfaction blowing microaggressions out through their mouths. Government satisfaction, political distraction to sanction retaliations for oil infractions like a mental vortex, meticulously inscribing prejudice into each vulnerable cortex. And if the teacher ever heard a word, he'd say, shh, no talking. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Even if you speak, you will stay unheard. It was at that point that society taught me how to be a mockingbird. Locked inside a metaphorical cage at a really young age, I learned that my race was better left a mystery, considering what I saw every day on the news and in that class that we called history. I hated the word Arab growing up so much that during my daily racial interrogation, I would always say I was Arabian or Mediterranean, something that emanated a little less Satan and a little more white, like chocolate macadamian. While my female peers had sweet European middle names like Elizabeth and Marie, mine was always Ali, prefacing my equally foreign last name Jamal-Eddine, which seamlessly fused together Arab, Black, Muslim, and immigrant, 4 of society's most detested discriminants. I hated the Jamal so much that I actually cried back in junior high when my school forced me to use my full legal name. My teachers were too white to realize that leaving that part out was my means of escape, like a 12-year-old injecting localized lidocaine and expecting numbing of systemic pain from the trauma of being randomly checked and detained prior to boarding any plane. I must have been ashamed of my dad's accent and immigrant status, because I made my primary apparatus asking my white mom to attend parent-teacher conferences and pick me up from school. Society must have made Islamophobia look kind of cool. I would never let my friends over to my dad's house, not because it was so small, but because artwork of Islamic calligraphy painted every wall. Nothing could compete with the smell of sauteed onion, not even Febreze aerosol perfume protocol, because my family does not season its food with scentless butter, salt, and cholesterol. I refused to learn Arabic and erased every trace of race from my linguistic memory. When I was 5, I made my mom return the tan Barbie that looked like me for a blonde one with blue eyes, because that's what I thought was pretty. I used to straighten my hair every day, incinerating my curls, attempting to blend in with the white girls. Back when I used to give a shit, I would literally chemically burn the skin above my lip to bleach the peach fuzz, leaving little cuts that stung like a whip. I used to hate the little bump on the bridge of my nose, my Arab exposed. I'd watch my self-esteem decompose. I'd delete any pictures of me taken from the side. I was out here trying to separate race from my body like an internal apartheid. They say beauty is pain. I say no. Beauty is the degree to which brown people are able to assimilate.
Well, white people have the privilege to appropriate. What do you think happens when your actions teach kids you are inherently a disgrace, that non-white means this is not your space? Like, who put you here in the first place? Like, dear white boy in the 9th grade, please continue to call me a terrorist to my face. Like, that white Christian patient asking my race and religion, I swear that question must be an addiction, an extension of the human condition. He said, it's okay that my family is Muslim. Like, thank you, sir, for your permission. Like, that nurse I was shadowing saying that all Arabs must have thoughts of terrorism in the backs of their heads. And having every single person in that room leaving that verbal message unread, having not one person to defend me. Your silence means you agree. If I wore a cross around my neck, would you treat me like a human being? We dress up prejudice and call it politics. Brown children are testaments that racial hatred is a crucifix. Being a minority in America means that when one person of your race commits a crime, it eats away at the moral sanctity of your entire race like a reputation enzyme. But with white people, it's always just one time. It means we are subjected to a life of double standards. It means we're too dark, but you can use a sunless tanner. It means we need to control our frizz, but you can use a volume enhancer. It means brown Muslim women's hijabs are oppression, but white Amish women's bonnets are never in question. It means it's called terrorism when a brown boy runs over one person, but calling a white man who murders 58 would be a linguistic perversion. It means ISIS is Islam, but the KKK is not Christianity. And even juxtaposing those two would be profanity. It means calling Michael Jackson crazy for his racial transformation rather than the nation that induced his actions.
Oh, baby, I was blind to let you go, baby. Now that I see you, it is on. I want you back. I'm angry that I'll never get my childhood back. I'm frustrated that refusing to learn Arabic has resulted in me spending the last 23 years of my life deaf and mute around my family that I chose to keep my mind destitute. That my teta is literally dying in the hospital in Beirut. And our conversations were never able to go beyond, "Iktir helwe, you're so beautiful, you're so cute." I'm heartbroken that all minoritized children don't have access to higher education, to learn what grades 1 through 12 don't teach. So now all I got is my story to preach. I'm sorry that I did not recognize how brave my dad was to travel over 6,000 miles from the slums of Dahia, Burj Al Barajni when he was 18. Because our family could only afford to send 1 out of 8 siblings to America to earn a degree. You know, sometimes it's difficult to decipher between the American nightmare and the American dream. I'm sorry that I did not show myself or my dad the love that we both deserved. That it took me 19 years to reclaim Arab as my main identifying word. That it took me 19 years to love my middle name because it's badass like Muhammad Ali, flow like a butterfly, sting like a bee, to love my whole name, Sabrina Ali, Al-Bets Mansour, Jamal-Eddine, because it got that flow like nothing else I ever seen, to love everything about being Arab and everything about being me. Thank you.